Unprovoked torrents of bullets showered from a gun, quiet as death. Fierce, tactical, and a challenger to the throne of the MP7. Hi. Six Snipes here, and boy oh boy have I looked forward to making this video. So have you guys, ever since my Reddit poll on which weapon to cover after the addition of Breakaway's new guns to the guide series. A whole lot of you spoke, but the outstanding majority is highly clear. Hundreds of votes, and the VAL won by a significant margin. I've been really interested in covering this one too, especially after my MP7 video praised the mechanics of what I deem the quintessential submachine gun. And while I'm not sure how to classify the VAL, be it a submachine gun, SBR, PDW, or whatever it's supposed to be called, I will admit this gun bears a strong resemblance to the topic of my most viewed video. One which strikes a challenge between the two. Per my analysis, which is better? Tune in, because after having fielded this gun excessively, I'm giving you my final verdict.
Oh my god! The dead has risen! What the hell is going on?
I'm Six Snipes, and this is Gun Guide. The VAL is a highly interesting and even more exotic firearm, famous for its integral suppressor barrel design. Famous among the community, perhaps for its depiction in Escape from Tarkov, but I'll have to take your word that it's really good there. I've never played. In real life, what I do know about this gun, though very little, is this. It's an AK-esque compact rifle featuring a massively polymer construction and with a barrel entirely composed of a suppressor apparatus built into it. Whatever about the design it is, allows it to be quiet, and I don't mean suppression of a still audible bang quiet, I mean there's been a video going around the internet of a guy firing the real one, and I kid you not, the bolt cycling is actually louder than the gun firing. This impressive feature stays true in the game. With the possible exception of the VAL's security counterpart, the Honey Badger, this is bar none the quietest gun out there. Pair that with a massive rate of fire and you've got a banger of a gun, just not literally. And I have to admit, on paper, the VAL seems pretty good. While it may have been released alongside the likes of the Honey Badger, this is definitely more competitively aligned with the MP7. Both are high fire rate, having the same magazine capacity, and are both available to the same class. They're also both in the same boat, where you need the extended mag too. It's pretty useless without the 40 rounds to double your otherwise low capacity, believe me, I tried it. Sure, it's a 6 credit piece. By the way, why did the terrorists get more expensive guns than ours? But seeing as the extended mag is easily cheaper than the VAL is more expensive by the same margin, both are effectively 8 credit guns. Same deal, right? Wrong, because the VAL gets a free suppressor too. Now, all this factored, you probably say at this point that the mad benefits of this outweighs the MP7 entirely, right? And I would actually think the same. However, given all the hype of this review and the amazing internet karma I may get from praising this gun, I admit I've been very nervous saying this, but it must be said. This is gonna be the first gun guide where I have to give a largely negative review.
What will you learn? What will you learn? That your actions have consequences!
Now that you've finished writing the intricate 8-paragraph comments breaking down why I'm a complete degenerate, hear this before you hit that post button. I understand that the majority of my critiques here are entirely, largely inconsequential, or even at the very most based off pure opinion, but aside from those, there are some glaring flaws with this weapon which, in my opinion, make it so much less effective than the MP7 that there's actually zero scenarios I would take this gun over the other. We'll start with the things that don't necessarily matter. Nuances. I think it's safe to say I've covered the majority of benefits for choosing this gun, however it is still worth adding a few more tiny ones. In my opinion, I quite like the overall utilities of this gun. Fast reloads, uber quiet noise, and no muzzle flash to blind you from your target. The aesthetics are also great, the gun looks great, the gun sounds great, and the reload animation is fast, and great. You can also equip tracers, which you may or may not care about, but it is one more feature that the MP7 doesn't have. I do not have any good things to say about its DLC red digicamo, but that's neither here nor there. It's also worth mentioning that the optic mounting of anything that's not the OKP, PKS, or the scope, which also comes in the SVD, which name I frankly forget, is done so with a bizarrely and awkwardly placed rail adapter that looks even weirder than what you see on the AK. I don't like it, and it gets in the way, but that might be irrelevant if you only use the custom mount optics or just don't care. Now for what matters, the hard stats. Firstly, this gun shoots faster than the MP7, which fires at about 950 RPM, while the VAL does 1000. This is slightly more, but the difference is tangible. Identical mag capacity is lost way quicker. Bursts are hard to control too. There's two other guns with a max fire rate of 1000, the FAMAS and the MG3. Now, the FAMAS gets away with this because of its burst fire mode. The MG3 gets a free pass because, well, it's firing huge armor-penetrating bullets and has 100 of them. The VAL has neither of these perks. No burst means the tap firing is inexact and entirely prone to dumping a good portion of your mag. This can be very effective if you're good and used to the recoil, but highly punishing if you miss. There's so many times that even with the 40 rounds, I went up against 2 or 3 guys and couldn't get past the last one. Why? Because I was already out of ammo. Semi-firing isn't great when the bullets are the way they are. Let's talk about the bullets. The caliber damage is higher than the MP7. The penetration is allegedly far better, but it was so very inconsistent for me that I have problems believing that it is too big of a deal. However, it was certainly better to some degree, not that that's hard or anything. But with more damage and penetration, you'd think that that's enough to carry this way ahead of the MP7, yeah? No. Take a look at velocity, and here's a word for you. Subsonic. That's the speed at which this gun fires rounds. That means the bullets travel slower than the sound it makes, as opposed to the MP7. Look at how much higher this is.
Bruh.
The range you get out of the MP7 is far better because the bullets you're sending aren't taking their sweet time to get there. I would tell you that the AS VAL gets the advantage of an equipable recoil grip, however this is breakaway, and as I noted in the first episode of my new Snipes Does Loadouts video, go check it out, the MP7 now gets one too. The VAL used to be able to be way more stable than the MP7, but now they're about the same with the same attachment. Zoom optics are functional, however, don't even bother. The gun is expensive enough already, and we've established it's ineffective at range to begin with. All this ranting, and I hate to go off any further on this gun, I know a lot of you guys like it, but I see why you would. If you keep within the range it's definitely meant to run at, you're good to go. The recoil is fine with practice, the gameplay at close range is infallible, and I found myself making huge plays with this thing. I single-handedly held off multiple objectives for significant time frames just because of how masterfully effective this gun can be in the right hands. That being said, I couldn't say it's any better than the MP7. Sure, it shoots faster, but when you're going at any higher than 900, it doesn't really serve to do anything but dump your ammo faster. The poor economy is obnoxious at best and game-ending at worst. I found myself using the secondary way more than anyone ever should have to, even sometimes just because I couldn't get this gun to kill past across a room. Make no mistake, I really wanted to like this gun. I did enjoy some instances of usage, however at a certain point I just gave up trying to effectively employ it. I can't knock anyone for running it though, I definitely see the pros, and without access to the security MP7 there's no reason not to field this gun, but in 10 out of 10 instances I'd take German over Russian. And that's just about all my thoughts on this gun. If you're in the probable minority of people who enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. If not, hate mail goes in the comments below. But hey, maybe I'll make a better review for a gun you like next time on Gun Guy. See you guys out there.